Welcome. You're just seconds away from the Brian Brawdy Show, where listener participation is strongly encouraged. Well, unless, of course, you're easily triggered, then listener discretion is strongly advised. And if you fall into the latter camp, why don't you just mortal up already?
Thanks for listening to the Brian Brawdy Show. It's time to mortal up.
Good afternoon once again. Welcome to now, I think I've got it right this time, episode 527 of the Brian Brawdy Show. Aw, Muffin. That's the title of our show this week. Or today, I guess is what I should be saying. That's the title of our show today, which for some reason I'm still hearing in my ear. But thank you so very much. Oh, thank you. That took care of it. Thank you, Wayne, very much. I don't know what that is, but we super appreciate it. And let me apologize right off the bat for the people going, you know what, this noon thing, I'm not digging it. I got to tell you, I'm not all excited about it. Well, I apologize. I know that it was different. Thank you so much for hanging out with us in the evenings, but I really am loving the daytime, daytime, right? I got up at 3 o'clock this morning to start working. But in any event, I kind of dig the daytime. So thank you for making the transition with us. Hello, Miss Putnam. Nice to see you, as always. We got a huge show today, and it's the last show this week because we're going into a 3-day weekend, all kinds of big things going on, so we're going to try to pack that into today's show. I'm sure you're going to love it. And you know, as I've said before, this is the greatest time in the history of the world to be alive. Now, I know everyone's upset. Everyone's on the edge of their seats. What's going to happen with the Supreme Court nominee? What's going to happen with the debate tonight? What's going to happen with the election in just a couple of weeks? What's going to happen? All of this. But here's the thing. You and I are going to rise above no matter what happens. No matter what. So that's why I say it's the greatest time in the history of the world to be alive. Let me thank our sponsors very quickly before we jump in with our New York Post little bit, our little skit at the top of the hour. Let me thank Certifiable Brilliance. We're very excited to have you on board, as well as Counterpunch Media, and, of course, the executive producer, Wayne, who does everything I said the other day, he makes me look mediocre. Now, if it were you, he'd make you look excellent. But he's got a lot to work with in trying to make me look good. So I aspire just to getting back to, like, even keel, just to getting back to mediocre. So when I say he makes me look 50-50, it's not... It's not his fault. It's right. It's nobody's fault. It's just the way it is. All right. So, Wayne, good day. How are you, sir? Before we throw it to our New York Post breaking news coverage, what do you got going on today?
Trying to get some sound things straightened out. So keep going, and I'll be with you in a second.
All right. You do what you do. I'll go ahead and do what I'm doing. So if I could ask you, when you have a moment, could you launch our little Twitter thing? And then I'll take it for the next 10 minutes or so while we figure everything else out.
Got to figure it out.
Oh, you got to figure it out. Great. So then it's time to head to the vampire. I forget what you call it. But our little ode to Twitter.
Tweety for Twitter.
Tweety for Twitter. That'd be great. The question begs to be asked. So we will. Twitter. A bird of prey. A voracious raptor. Or a little Tweety bird. You make the call. Oh, I laugh every time I hear that. Wayne, thank you very much. And, of course, you know what that means. Now, a little bit of background today. We were rejected for our second attempt at an ad. Now, here's the thing, Wayne. Facebook, you put something up on a post, and Facebook goes, oh, my good Lord, all kinds of people are liking this. It's getting all kinds of interaction. All kinds of people are sharing it. You should boost this post, right? So I'm like that little kid that falls for the hand, right? You go, oh, I've got some candy over here if you don't want to eat your vegetables. And I go right over, right? So I fall for it every time. So yesterday, once again, nothing nefarious. I don't think anything particularly political. And I accepted their invitation. I go, great, here's some scratch. We'll go ahead and you can run an ad. And all I said was, I think I shared a story that had been sent to me by somebody or other, which is that with all the people you allow to post on Twitter without throttling them back, without shutting them down, without locking them out of their account, with all the people that you let just go on and on and on, the New York Post is where you've decided to draw your line in the sand. Now, apparently, Mug Pamphlet, they're doing the same thing. They'll just go ahead and reject you right out of the box if they don't like it. And, you know, all the different people. And I got to tell you, Wayne, I love these people on Facebook that don't even have a picture up, right? Don't even have a picture up in their avatar, but they've got opinions. They got all kinds of things to say. Well, so in any event, right? Go ahead.
Yeah, they have a lot of opinions.
I have a lot of opinions.
But
a lot of keyboard courage.
If the shoe was on the other foot,
right,
they wouldn't be happy campers.
Well, some of these people don't know if the shoe isn't on the other foot. You could imagine by some of the comments that they're challenged to know the difference between left and right. You know, they might not be able to put shoes on themselves. In any event, let's not applaud their efforts to be their own version of lowlifes making headlines. Let's jump right to the New York Post. And why we're doing it, as you well know, if you've been following us, this is the fourth day this week. If Jack Dorsey and the good people at Spitter, and for that matter, the people, Marky Mark and the people at Mug Pamphlet, if you're going to throttle back free speech, if you're going to throttle back opinion, if you're going to throttle back, and Wayne, you'd be surprised the number of people go, well, it's their company. They can do whatever they want. Oh, really? So just because you own a company, you can do whatever you want. McDonald's can decide to serve you their large French fries out of a urinal in the men's room.
I remember years ago, AT&T tried to do the same thing.
You know what I'm saying? Oh, well, it's a private company.
So
you don't
AT&T?
like it, start your own media company. And I felt like saying, well, we kind of did start our own media company. It says right on the top of the page that you're just posting on media company, right? You got to let it go. So in any event, New York Post, we're going to do the top 3 stories every day until they let the Post out of Twitter jail because they don't belong there. Not because I either agree or disagree with whatever it is they're posting, and this is the Bunter Hyden story, which is just blowing up. If you're not in the Biden camp and you look at anything like this, you got to go, man, where there's smoke, there's fire. But in any event, notwithstanding that, all we're talking about is who is Jack Dorsey? Who is big tech? I'm glad they were subpoenaed to go to Capitol Hill. Not like these wusses, and we're going to get to the wusses at Capitol Hill. I mean, the senators and the like. Not like they're going to be able to do much to them, right? But they're being subpoenaed to Capitol Hill to go, how did you block the account of the number 4 media account on Twitter? So in defense of the New York Post. Now, I don't know anyone at the New York Post. No one at the New York Post called and asked us to do this, but we're getting great response on YouTube. Hello to everyone on YouTube. We're getting great response on Mug Pamphlet. Also in the Spitter verse, the Blue Bubble verse over at Twitter, we're getting great response. And Wayne, as you're telling me about the analytics, even over on mortalup.com and radiobride.com, we're getting all kinds of increased numbers because I think, just like the likes and shares here on Facebook, people are tired of having big tech tell them what they should believe, tell them what they think is true or not true. I think people are fed up with being spoon-fed, right, by mainstream media. They're tired. They've had it with being spoon-fed by anti-social media. And I think that's a part, that's the part of the backlash, if you ask me. All right, so see, Wayne, I got my new timer working. It's just a little bit after. So why don't we trip this thing right at 9 minutes and 30 seconds, and then we'll be back.
The views expressed by guests are their own, and their appearance on the program does not imply an endorsement of them or any entity they represent.
All right, here we go. The views are, these views happen to be of the New York Post and of Brian Brawdy and anyone that's affiliated with us here at the show. Dirty Laundry gets aired. Ghislaine, is it Ghislaine? Ghislaine Maxwell. Jeffrey, you know who I'm talking about.
Epstein.
Old friend. What is it?
Jeffrey Epstein's.
Oh, thank you. Jeffrey Epstein. I almost said Jeffrey Dahmer. Isn't that horrible to have the word Jeffrey inked, like indelibly etched in your mind? What'd you say his name was? Webstein? No.
Epstein.
Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein plays prude when grilled on a basket of sex toys. Well, Miss Maxwell, what was that all about? Oh, I don't know. They weren't mine. Had to be somebody else. She pulled a James Comey. No, I had to blame somebody else. I don't know how they got here. Someone dropped that basket, right? Or, well, I don't know what's going on. They're not mine. I couldn't possibly know what those are about. Story number 2. Hunter Biz partner confirms email details Joe Biden's push to make millions. I was to say here, to make millions from China. The Biden-China deal. Looks like they've got some corroborating evidence, Wayne. I don't know. But what I'm simply saying is Twitter or Facebook shouldn't have, mug pamphlet or spitter shouldn't have the right to throttle that back because they don't think your delicate, daisy little petunia ears can handle it, right? What's that movie, A Few Good Men? You can't handle the truth. And whatever it is, they think now they're your therapist. These book burners are the ones in charge of seeing or showing, displaying what it is you'll read. All right, story number 3, a Florida mom, OnlyFans, and I guess OnlyFans is the name of a show or a page, maybe on Snapchat or whatever it's called. Instagram, I guess we're there as well. Oh, it is Instagram. It says an Instagram model may have saved her family when she grabbed a firearm and engaged in a gunfight with masked intruders. Clearly, now listen, I don't want to be throwing masked intruders under the bus. Clearly, they were wearing their masks, Wayne, because of the COVID-19 restrictions.
Of course.
Of course, right? Well, I talked to you earlier about it when it was the Lone Ranger or Batman, back when masks weren't a bad word. So in any event, these would-be home invaders just happened to want to enforce the 6-foot rule, breaks into this woman's home in Miami-Dade County. They were armed. They ambushed her husband, 7-year-old, and their friends. So 7-year-old and little other friends. They ambushed them while they were watching the Miami Heat in the NBA Finals. Wayne, I've told you, watching those finals, that'll kill you. Watching basketball, that's just not good for your health. And here's a story that proves my point. She goes on to say, well, I was in the bathroom. I started to hear the commotion. I started hearing, quote, get down, give me everything you've got, right? Like Scotty in what was it? Boldly Go Where No Man Has Gone Before. Give me all you got. What is it?
Star Trek.
Thank you. I'm giving you all I've got, Captain. Celebrity and voices were impersonated by Brian. So in any event, while she's in the bathroom, she hears all this commotion. I went to the nightstand. I grabbed the gun and I opened the door. One of the guys was face to face. He told me to put the gun down. I shook my head no and said, don't shoot me. My son is here. All right. After the tussle and some gunshots, which were caught on surveillance video, the intruders took off. So, Wayne, we were just talking about this yesterday. She didn't have a chance to dial 911.
Nope.
She didn't have a chance to call for local police, right? Or I don't know what happens in Miami anymore. Maybe they've defunded the police, so now you get a social worker. She didn't have an opportunity to dial a social worker, right? Instead of calling for the SEALs, they call for the HEALs. For the HEALs to click on over and go, oh, let's see if we can't find a peaceful resolution of this. After all, they were wearing masks, so they're socially responsible, these home intruders with a gun. No, she was able. Who knows what would happen if she wasn't able to defend herself and her family, right? We were just talking about this yesterday. So instead of suggesting that someone else should adopt the karma, someone else should risk their life responding to get to your house, instead of calling 911 and saying, all right, I'll just sit back and wait for the police to get here. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You go get them, Tiger. Right? We're just going to wait for the police to get here. We don't want to get involved. We don't want to get gunpowder residue on our hand, or none of this. We'll just wait for the police. Well, here's a perfect example of how having a firearm in your home afforded you the luxury of protecting yourself.
And the family.
And the family. And the friends of the little kid.
Yeah.
Right? Again, a cautionary tale. Don't watch the NBA Finals. It's just not, it's like secondhand cigarette smoke. It's just not good for your health.
The ratings for the NBA Finals are pretty low anyway.
Oh, please. They were, right? So let me ask you a question, because I don't watch a lot of this. With these shortened seasons, are people still fired up about football and basketball and baseball? And assuming those things are, even if they're still going on, are people fired up, or are they like, The seasons are so truncated, it's like a pickup game in the park. Who really cares what happened?
Well, first, nobody knows when they're going to play them because as soon as something happens with COVID, they delay the game and postpone it a couple of days.
Okay. All right, gotcha.
Number two, the ratings. If you look at the ratings for the viewership,
all right,
they're way down for all sports right now.
All right. Well, they're also way down for Quibi. Did you see Katzenberg's? And I have to tell you, Wayne, I was on board. Let's do some breaking in case anyone hasn't heard the story. Stand by. Yes. You know what that sound means, Wayne? It's time for the breaking news gong. Katzenberg's and Whitman, his partner, Ms. Whitman, their whole Quibi, that streaming video service where you could watch really cool stuff if you had like 5 minutes in line, if you were waiting to see the doctor and this and that. Well, they announced yesterday they're shutting down. That's the breaking news from the breaking news gong. They're shutting down because no one's standing in line. No one has those in-between moments. And, Wayne, I was a huge fan, I got to tell you. But we're talking billions of dollars from investors, big names, all kinds of cool projects in the pipeline, I guess is the way they say it in the industry, if you're into the industry. All these things in the pipeline, and they come out and said, we just can't make it work. We've tried like a Rubik's Cube of everything, and we just can't get the right combination. So they announced yesterday they're going to be going down because no one's got any in-between times. So my question, and why that jumped with ratings being down, if everyone's just sitting around, notwithstanding picking fights on social media, right, because you just need to get out of the house every so often, notwithstanding picking fights and burning bridges and disowning family members and all the rest of this because you have a different political opinion or you have whatever the opinion is. It's just different than yours. You would think everyone and their brother would be like, well, hell, I'm just sitting here. Of course I'll watch basketball, football, baseball, hockey. So I don't get it, Wayne. If everyone's just sitting around, they're tired of being on Zoom, right? Not saying you're going full Jeffrey Toobin. You're not that tired. You're not that bored. You're not that done with it. But you're just sitting around. Why is organized sports having such a difficult time?
People are just bored with, the rule changes, the restrictions, the delayed schedules. People are just fed up with it.
I can absolutely see. I've been fed up with it before it was vogue to be fed up with, right?
Yeah.
But as I've said to you before, I was a fan of the 6-foot rule and the 3-second don't come into the paint rule. I was a big fan of that before it was vogue, right? All you got to do is go out and get in your car now. There's too many people on the roadway. Too many people in line at the stores, whatever stores you're going to. So now, Wayne, before we run here, I also want to make mention of, we've got a segment, and talking about breaking news, we've got a segment coming up that I think people are really going to want to hear. So let's do this real quick, and then we'll come right back.
Portions of this broadcast have been pre-recorded.
Why? Because you can't get these people to hit a call time. They're the worst. Nah, I'm just kidding. We love our guests. All right, some of the portions of today's show are pre-recorded, and Wayne, would this be a good time before we get to some of the other segments? Should we announce our dimwit dialogues? At least give everyone an idea of what we think we're going to start next week?
Go for it if you'd like.
Yeah, so here's what we're doing.
It's probably going to be, by the way, it'll be mid next week.
Mid next week, right. Well, right, because we got a staff meeting. We got a bunch of different things going on. So probably be mid next week. But we're going to do the dimwit dialogues because you're thinking to yourself, well, with a lot of these breaking news stories, I would like to be a fly on the wall, right? I would like to be there to hear what's happening, to hear what some of the debate is, to hear how all this is going on. So what we're going to do in the dimwit dialogues, Wayne and I are going to reenact some of the conversations that are front and center in our minds, right? The most pressing news stories, right? Like, what are those things, those conversations, those back and forths between the brainiacs running the show? What are some of those conversations? We call it the dimwit dialogues, and obviously celebrity voices will be impersonated, and we'll be looking to do that starting probably later next week, I would think. So we're excited to get your input, and if you're like, oh, Bri, did you hear about this conversation? Did you hear about any of this? This would be a great one to do, right? If you're like, hey, did you hear this was going on, that was going on, then please drop us a line over at mortalup.com. Let us know what you're thinking about, right? Let us know if there's a story that you're like, boy, I'd like to hear a reenactment of that. I'd like to know what the deal is, what's going on. I'd like to be behind the scenes, if you will, and we'll go ahead and get that. Because now that Quibi's gone, right, you might be looking for that kind of cutting edge, tip of the spear programming, if you will. So we'll be all over doing that, and that'll start a little bit later next week. All right, Wayne, you and I both love this segment. What's not to love? It writes itself. It writes itself. So why don't we go ahead and just kick in some doors? Lowlifes making headlines, or as we like to call it around here, brains that make your blood boil. Here's your brittle brain atop a balsa wood spine for today. All right, the brittle brains atop a balsa wood spine for today. Now, Wayne, I'm told, I didn't get a chance to see it yet. I have total confidence in you. When you create a thumbnail, man, it rocks. I haven't seen it yet, but it's not a competition today. Once again, and I know I said yesterday for everyone listening that little Chucky Hairplug Schumer, that coward, little Chucky Schumer was going to be our lowlife making headlines today. And in a way, he is. Let me say hello to Jeremy. Jeremy, nice to see your avatar pop up. And Ms. Putnam, thank you so very much for joining us. Thank you for everyone over on YouTube and, of course, on Spitter, a.k.a. the Bubbleverse. Thank you so very much for joining us. And if you're listening in on RadioBri.com, MortalUp.com, over at BrianBrody.Associates, thank you so much for that as well. All right, so Wayne, given the events of the day, in that you always have your finger on the pulse, go ahead and reveal. See, this is where I need to get the damn drum roll.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah,
I need a drum roll.
I had to override the Chuck Schumer one.
Oh, well, yeah, right.
That was originally planned.
Well, you know what? It's still a good one. He just abandoned. You talk about throwing someone under the bus. He abandoned an old friend because he's a coward.
Yeah.
I'm getting a text. Oh, show some respect. He's a senator. Look, if you're just tuning in, quick public service announcement. I have no respect for a majority of the people in big government. Now, you could extrapolate from that and say, well, you say all the time that big government doesn't live in a distant capital. It lives in little minds. Absolutely true. I have no respect for the little minds that try to bully everyone else under the guise of being public servants.
Well, the other
don't like it, huh?
Yeah, the other thing is you've got to earn respect.
I think so too.
And no one there has earned my respect. They haven't earned it.
Yeah, look, if you're into grifting, here's my question. What's a U.S. senator get paid every year, Wayne? Couple $1 million a year to be a senator?
Well, it depends on how many deals they make.
Exactly. That's my point.
Which bills they pass.
How do all these people get into office? And they're not millionaires when they get there, but when they leave, not only are they millionaires, but they've set themselves up to be lobbyists. Well, I know how the inside works, so you should hire me.
Yep.
All right, so I don't want to get started again. I don't need another spritz. And in the end, it's all wing sauce to me, right? Left wing, right wing, we're all a bunch of criminals.
But
now here's we got a special group
for today.
All right, let's see it. Oh, today's lowlifes making headlines. I reckon, some of these are past individual winners. Oh, Senator Dianne Feinstein. I see Tricky Dick Durbin from Illinois. Corey, I'm going to fall on my sword, Spartacus Booker. Kamala Harris. Oh, yes, there you go. And Hinoro from Hawaii. She's a past winner. Chris Coons, Blumenthal. Let me see, Patrick Leahy. Just how long has he been around there? Who is this other guy? Well, I can't see. You have to read some of the names for me, Wayne. That I can't see the pictures here. Blumenthal, I guess is his name. White House. Oh, and Amy Klobuchar, another former vice president. You think it just steams Amy Klobuchar where she goes, well, I didn't have nearly as horrible of things to say about Biden during the debates as Harris did. I can't believe he picked her. You think she's steamed by that, Wayne?
I wouldn't be surprised.
I wouldn't be surprised either, right? Brittle brains atop balsa wood spines and all. Okay, but Wayne, let's get back to this. The ranking member of the Senate Judiciary Committee, Dianne Feinstein, who I thought, even though Facebook rejected the upgrade of the post or whatever you call it, I thought it was an honorable human thing to do, to want to hug Lindsey Graham. But talk to me. Why are they collectively? Because there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's 10 of them. So it's the entire Democratic side of the aisle for the Senate Judiciary Committee.
Absolutely.
And why did we pick them as lowlifes making headlines today?
They didn't show up to move the Supreme Court nominee.
What do you mean? They didn't come to work?
They basically just boycotted the session.
Oh. So
that's what they were acting like.
Right? So I want to get this straight. So did and I don't know because I've been downstairs in the studio. Did the nomination move forward? Did Lindsey Graham, the hug heard round the world, Lindsey Graham of the Feinstein-Graham shuffle, did he get, as the head of the Judiciary Committee, did he move the nomination out of committee out to the floor? He passed the baton, as it will?
He certainly did.
Aw. And then so I imagine Chuck Schumer, we have a soundbite. Chuck gave I don't know if you know this, Wayne, but we got this soundbite from a friend in Washington, D.C. Here's Chuck Schumer responding to the fact that he was unable to stop the Amy Coney Barrett appointment from moving forward.
Well,
Oh, yeah, good. Succinct soundbite. He was probably busy on his way to a war room, right? Figuring out what else he was going to do next. So these lowlifes making headlines. Wayne, can I ask you a question?
Sure.
I know we're getting ready to run to the bottom of the hour, so maybe we'll have you answer it after we get back. But have you ever had a job where you could just decide, for whatever reason, you're not going to show up?
Nope.
You can just boycott going to work.
Nope.
Just not even go and punch a clock. Now, do we know, are any of these people, are they getting their pay docked?
No.
No. None. None of these chickens are getting their pay docked. So they can just decide not to show up to do the job that they're paid for. How many of us in the masses, how many of us? Let me know. Give us a text, 833-667-8251. You can text us, right? Comes right in here to the studio. Could you and I just get to the point where we go, no, I don't think I'll go today. I'm not feeling quite right about this way. I'm not liking the fact that I'm on the verge of losing. I'm not liking the fact, right, that it's just not going to go well for me today. So instead of going and suffering the loss in person, having my vote not count, I think I'll just not go to work. I'll call in sick, right?
Yeah, they didn't want to be seen as this.
Right. They didn't want to do it, so they'll just call in sick. Oh, Muffin, you'll be okay. So now, these people that we elect, right, these are the top shelf, right? These are the cream of the crop public servants that we elect, that we send to do our business. They just don't have to show up because they don't like the outcome. Is that why we made them today's lowlifes making headlines?
Absolutely.
All right. Well, there you have it. Now you know why it's the first time we've ever had 10 people, I think. It was almost like a Maleficent 7, but I see why you had to do the 10 just to get them, just to get all their names in there. All right. We're going to run to the bottom of the hour, halfway through our show, at least for today, and we will be right back.
You're listening to The Brian Brawdy Show. Why? Because you know the truth when you hear it. He'll be right back.
Welcome back to the Brian Brawdy Show, brought to you by our good friends at Counterpunch Media and Certifiable Brilliance. It's time to buckle up. All right. Yes, we are thrilled to be back for the second half hour because pretty soon, Wayne, I think people listening know this, pretty soon we'll be moving to 2 hours and then 3 hours, and we're going to be going up against some of the biggest names in talk radio, right, in this noon to 3 East noon to 3 East. Kicks off 9 a.m. in the West, if you
That's
do
the
math.
plan.
That's the plan.
That's the plan.
So that's the plan. So, and the nice thing about our virtual hitchhiker program, right? A lot of my friends that drive trucks, that drive deliveries, that stock shop, a lot of my friends that don't have the ability, like these crap weasels in the Senate Judiciary Committee, to just decide, oh, well, I don't like the way the vote's going to go, so I'm just going to show them. I'll fix their wagon, right? I'll show them. I'm just not going to go. That'll put a fly in their ointment. Right? So these brainiacs don't even show up to do their job. But for the people like you and me that have to show up and do our job, right?
Yeah.
Thank you, Miss Putnam. For people like you and I that got to show up, that's why we did the virtual hitchhiker program, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm all over it because if you're running around, think of it as like Pocket Brian. If you no, not Pocket like Rudy Giuliani fixing his microphone, not Pocket like Jeffrey Toobin. Not like that. Just think of Pocket Brian. And so if you're out and about trying to make a living, doing your daily rounds, doing your routine, you can take us along with you. And it truly is an honor to be riding shotgun, to be a cognitive bodyguard, if you will, because there's so much mashugana. And that's why I love holding a mirror up to all the human mashugana these days, Wayne, is it's just there's too much of it going on. Just too much. So I love coming in here every day and figuring out what's it going to do to keep people informed, keep people, maybe a little entertained, and then always closing with the Mortal Up segment, my favorite time of the hour, always closing up with the Mortal Up segment, figuring out what we have to do, right, to get you riled up, to get you to the point where you're like, look, I can stand square my shoulders with fate, kick the crap out of some of these walking, talking Venus flytraps that are trying to pull me down. I love it. Ms. Putnam, thank you very much. I super appreciate that. Thank you so much. All right, Wayne, what else you got going on? I know tonight's a big night. Today was a big day. It looks like Amy Coney Barrett is on her way to the main floor. And if you know McConnell or you just read his stuff, he's as much of an egomaniac as Schumer is. So, he's not going to let this sit very long. So they're probably planning on the vote probably as soon as he can get a vote. What, maybe like Monday, do you reckon?
Yeah.
I think so, too.
Yeah, I think it's going to be a few days.
All right, so what's today? Thursday. That's right. We got the 3-day weekend, which is great. We love it. We got the 3-day weekend, so we're thinking maybe Monday he'll vote or he'll bring it up to the floor, and we'll see what we have going. What else is going on, Wayne? What else am I missing? I like to go over and do a shout-out to the New York Post, just keeping up with what's going on with them to kick off the show. But is there something else that I'm missing today? Any other breaking news that you've heard of?
Well, it was about 2 minutes before we went on the air today.
Okay.
That I noticed a news report that just came out, basically reporting how Kamala Harris is listed as a key contact for the Biden family business venture in China, a domestic key contact.
Well, that's something. Did you say that? Because I'm getting a tweet now. I'm getting a news story now that says, email reportedly sent from Biden's brother to Hunter references Kamala Harris. Right? So let me get this straight. So let's just go back to my conspiracy theory. Remember, you heard it here first. Everyone else is busy running from conspiracy theories, right? They're like, oh, yeah, look what happened to Alex, not Trebek. Help me with this guy's name. The guy who was all conspiracy theory. Alec, not Baldwin. He's the guy that's forever leaving. He's another one that wants to leave whenever he gets his way. Maybe that's where the Senate gets it from. We'll just be like Rosie O'Donnell. We'll be like Cher. We don't get our way. We're out of here. It's contagious, I think, Wayne. Maybe that's what we should be wearing masks from. All these panty weights going, if I don't get my way, I'm just going to go adios. And yes, that was my attempt at cultural appropriation. So mortal up, you pancake. Right? So maybe that's where it stems from. Everyone's following them. But what's the guy? You know who I'm talking about.
I can't remember his name.
Yeah, I don't remember either. But he used to have a website, and everyone said all he talks about is conspiracy theory. So they smack him around,
Jones.
and he's what is it?
Isn't it Alex Jones?
Yes, I was going to say Alex Trebek, but you're absolutely right. It was Alex Jones. So, right, but here's a theory I am not distancing myself from. I think Nancy Pelosi is busy trying to turbocharge the 25th. And if you realize, Wayne, she's been pretty quiet since we made the announcement here, right? She's been you don't hear anything from her.
This is true.
You don't hear anything from her since we announced that I think, I don't want to throw you under the bus with me or any of our sponsors. Well, I think, right, a turbocharged 25th. I think it's because she doesn't want to use it against Trump. She would if she could. There was a year left, maybe she would. I think she's going to use it against Joe Biden and install as vice president, if that happens, Kamala Harris to be the top gun, which is odd because she's anti-gun. In any event, install Kamala Harris to be top gun, right? So that Nancy Pelosi gets coronated. And by coronated, I know exactly the word I used. Everyone's looking for a king. Everyone's looking for a queen. Everyone's looking for their overlord. It's disgusting. You want to talk about going outside, people worried about catching COVID-19. Well, I just don't want to catch the genuflecting disease. That means that we're supposed to bow down to all these politicians, these criminals, these crooks, right? Just because they're able to convince people in the media to scream that they're public servants. So, crickets, haven't heard anything about it since we announced here on the show. It's not the first time it's happened, Wayne, as you know. A lot of times we get the breaking news here that comes up. I think it's her plan to try to get to be president. Nancy Pelosi, that's what she's going to do. That's what I say. And now, when you see that these emails reportedly sent from Biden's brother, and I think his name is James. Jim. Oh, so just like his poster child, Jim Comey. But his brother to Hunter references Kamala Harris. Well,
that's not all.
Tangle? Oh, okay. I'm sorry. Go ahead. What do you have?
Jim Biden shared a list of key domestic contacts for Phase 1 target projects. The list includes Harris, Schumer, Klobuchar, Feinstein, Kirsten Gilbert, Andrew Cuomo, de Blasio, Terry McAuliffe.
Andrew. And now I'm getting a text across the wire. Hunter Biden's ex-business partner told, "Don't mention Joe," quotes, in any text messages. Say no to Joe.
He's known as the big guy.
I'm sorry. Oh, he's known as the big guy.
In those emails and text messages.
Oh, maybe that's why he's been saying for like 3 years, I'll take Trump out back behind the high school gymnasium and beat him up. Oh, he's the big guy. I didn't realize that. Was he like tall as Comey, is he?
Yeah. And the ex-partner, by the way, has been moved from that prison into protective custody.
Yes. And you know what? Listen, so you and I are going to fight now. I told you a day or two ago that they would make a sweeter deal for this guy, right? Whoever was coming forward, right? He's doing his prison sentence, doing whatever. Is this the same guy we were talking about? I told you. I bet you lunch, so you'll be buying next week, by the way.
I don't know if it's a sweeter deal.
Well, protective custody is a little sweeter deal. You're not in the yard. You're not, right? It's a little sweeter deal.
Yeah, but, I think they're looking at they don't want an Epstein to happen to him.
Why is he of adverse temperament? Is he? Is he like one of these guys on the fence? Should I live life? Should I not live life?
I don't believe Epstein killed himself. That's my opinion.
And I'm the one that gets. Well, they add him to the list of 150 people that I'm just saying the Clintons should pick more mentally tough, right? Talk about mortal up. Pick people that aren't as prone to suicide as their inner circle of friends. That's all I'm saying.
You mean like the 80 or so Clinton colleagues that are all kicked the bucket?
Yeah. Mind, it's a terrible thing to turn on itself. I say that all the time. Right? I say it all the time. It's just a horrible thing. All right, so what else is going on that I've missed today before we jump to our next segmente?
Well, we're going to go to take that break.
Oh, we're going to take the break. Sorry. All right, so we're going to open the phone line. Sorry, brother. Oh, we're going to take the break. Did we already open the phone lines?
Phone lines are tied up, are they? Well, you're welcome to leave us a message. And because your voice deserves to be heard, we just might play the recording on air. So sit up straight, take a deep breath, belt it out, and let us know what you're thinking.
The phone lines are open. Now's your chance to mortal up and give Brian a shout because your opinion deserves to be heard. Dial toll-free 1-833-MORTAL-1. That's 833-MORTAL-1.
All right. Did I forget to open the phone lines, really?
You sure did.
I'm sorry. See what happens?
And I'm
that's
trying
what
to
people
be
say.
a nice guy, not to interrupt you.
Oh, please. I was waiting to see you do the Macarena. I think people are going to be thrilled. If they ever get to see the video of you on YouTube or Twitter or here on Mug Pamphlet of you doing your version of the chicken dance to get my attention, it's hysterical. And let me just say, for everyone listening, thank you for not going all Jeffrey Toobin on me to try to get my attention. Just stick with the Macarena, stick with both your hands so that I can see them. All right, Wayne, what else is going on in the world today? I know that we're going to do wing sauce just because you gotta. I'm getting a breaking news story now. Trump releases contentious 60-minute footage ahead of broadcast. I guess he's trying to steal Leslie Stahl's scoop. Well, that's not very nice. Wayne, the greatest time in the history of the world to be alive. Watching, right? Yeah.
The old saying is don't piss the man off.
I guess so. That's it, right? Now, what do we have here? I see a judge dismisses. Here's some more. And we don't want to make this a whole. Judge dismisses third-degree murder charge against ex-officer Derek Chauvin. Wait a minute. Why do I recognize that name? Chauvin. Oh, wait a minute. That's the cop that was kneeling on the guy's neck, George Floyd. Minnesota judge has dropped a third-degree murder charge against former police officer Derek Chauvin in the death of George Floyd. Chauvin still faces second-degree murder charges and second-degree manslaughter charges. Well, here's the thing. That's why if you're a district attorney or you're a prosecuting attorney, you charge him with everything, including trying to steal the kitchen sink, right?
Yeah.
Because you never can tell. The motion to dismiss the charges of unintentional second-degree murder and second-degree manslaughter are denied, wrote Cahill, adding that the motion to dismiss the charge of third-degree murder is granted, and that charge is dismissed. So they were just racking up, right? They were just going ahead and charging with everything. And, you know, Wayne, we've talked about this before. We've talked about my opinion on it. You just don't kneel on someone's neck like that. Now, I know there's all kinds of people, many of which have never been a cop, right? And I love these people coming out of the woodwork to debate me. Oh, well, he was on drugs. Oh, he was this. Oh, he was that. Doesn't matter. You don't kneel on someone's neck for minutes. You don't do it, especially someone that's handcuffed. You just don't do it. So, but that's the breaking news. Third got tossed. He's still up for second. And first, he's still up for the manslaughter. So we'll see how that works out. All right, Wayne, what do you have queued up for us next?
It's time to tune out the herd. Because everything you've ever needed, you've always had. So bring your own bold, and let's go mortal up.
All right. Thank you, Wayne, so very much. The mortal up, how are we tying that into Muffin? Now, I just want to mention the fact that people have attacked me, which is great. I love it because I don't like you anyways, right? Can I tell you the problem I get into, Wayne?
Go for it.
People think that I care about their opinion of me, right? People go, oh, I'll show Brian. I'll tell him how much I hate him. Well, I couldn't care less. I mean, literally, I couldn't care less. There's not a thing that I could care less about than people's opinions of me. Maybe yours, maybe my wife's, maybe my kids. But some days yes, some days no. Tomato, tomato. Got to tell you, don't know really.
Well,
I couldn't care less about the opinions.
I get into that discussion with my wife all the time.
Oh, that you couldn't care less about my opinions?
She says, why are you saying that out there to these people?
Right.
And I said, because I don't care what they think about me.
I don't care. I don't care. I just don't care. So when people say, well, I can't believe you called me Muffin, I thought since today's show was Muffin, right? And we were talking about, the Senate, deciding, I'm not going to come to work. I'm not going to sit there while they vote over my head, right? Corey, I am Spartacus. Don't tread on me, Booker. right? He just doesn't want to put up with it, Wayne. So he goes, right? He doesn't want to put up with it. So they decide, great, here's what I'll do. We'll go ahead and we'll just boycott the show, right? Now, I would like to know, I'm getting a picture tweeted to me where they put up the pictures of the 10 Democrats, like the pictures in place of their chairs, like they had life-size cutouts. Who paid for that, Wayne?
Well,
probably you and me.
But and that's why I put this together the way it is. So when they showed that picture of the empty chairs,
yeah,
we know who was supposed to be in those empty chairs.
I'm with you. I think you did a great job as always. I have to tell you, Wayne, I laugh every time. I don't want to get away from Mortal Up, but every time you go, okay, I got the thumbnail, I got this graphic, I laugh before I open, right? It's like you can tell that I'm getting ready to open an email from you because I laugh while I'm doing it. I'm like, what has he come up with now? Wait till people see next week the trigger warning. It's just hysterical. In any event, when it comes back to Muffin, and I say people complain all the time, I can't believe you called me Muffin. Let me just say this. The people that I love the most in the world, guess what? Wayne, let me ask you a question. How many times have I called you Muffin?
Every other day.
Every other day. So Muffin, for me, right, when I call the people that mean the most to me, Sparkles. When I call the people that mean the most to me, Petunia, right? Exactly. When I call the people that mean the absolute world to me, okay, Magenta, you'll get through it. It's right. It's a call to action. It's not a slam. It's a call to action. And I expect, because Wayne says it to me, Wayne, right? Wayne will call me and go, how's it going today? Oh man, I'm dragging. Okay, Muffin, let's get to work now. Chop, chop. Let's go. Yeah, clucking hen, right? I mean that affectionately. So for all the people that want to line up, right, and go, oh, well, we just don't have to put up with that.
Thanks for listening to the Brian Brawdy Show. Until next time, get out there and mortal up.